Good evening to you all. Welcome to you all in our Bangalore chapter PDM on board's cyber expectation from internal auditors. This is a great. We are really have a great opportunity to hear from Deepa. Deepa, I think most of those are in Bangalore. All this audit community, we know Deepa well. I know her for last 20 years. She is a chartered accountant having more than 24 years of experience. She's partner in Deloitte. She is a thought leader. She has got enormous experience in the space of cyber crime, actually expectations. And I know Deepa, she is first initially when the SAP was absolutely new, she knew SAP well. So my interaction with Deepa started from that point. Then she is absolutely master in ITGC audit. That is a old time. Then risk. There are many areas. I don't know how I'll explain her. She has got tremendous knowledge, and she is a partner in Deloitte Risk Advisory Practice. About 24 years of experience. She is a leader in cyber security technology practice and also various controls. She has specific experience in working with cyber strategy, governance, risk, compliance, related works in manufacturing technology. Whenever we have earlier one or two occasions to hear from her, she is absolutely knowledgeable, and I'm very sure that all of you, those who are in Bangalore, we are quite fortunate enough to have Deepa here. Those who are not heard from her, it will be a great opportunity to listen. And she is a regular contributor in ISACA, in DSCI, all these cyber forums. She is a regular speaker, she is a writer, she has written articles on the cyber risk. I have read it in the Economic Times and many other journals, papers and journals. So after 1 hour, you will definitely thank Bangalore chapter and ask that to present Deepa to you. So Deepa, this is over to you. It is very, I cannot explain whatever your capabilities in 1 minute or 2 hours. So
yeah. You've been very nice to me, Mr. Kundu.
Thank you. Now, actually, over to you, Deepa. Now, next 1 hour is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kundu. Thanks very much for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and I always look forward for such sessions because it's a lot more interactions, and with all your questions that you will have, it's going to be a learning for me as well. So very good evening. I welcome you to this session. Today, I'm going to be sharing some of my thoughts in terms of both cyber expectation from internal auditors. If you look at, in the post-pandemic scenario that we are looking at, we have read in the newspaper so many times that the number of cyber attacks have increased tremendously. In one of the articles that I was reading, which was being reported by Certain, that the number of cyber incidents have increased by almost 300%. This was something around March when I was reading. It was like, it's increased by about 300% to what it was in the previous year. I was also in discussion in one of the CII conference. I was there in a panel which had CFOs of some of the large IT service providers and banks as part of the panel. And one of the panel members said this. He said, there are only two types of organization. One set of organization who have been attacked and they know that they have had a cyber attack. The next set of companies are companies who have had a cyber attack, but they have not realized that they've had a cyber attack. So according to him, it was like, almost each of us, each of our organizations or most of the organizations today have been impacted as far as the cyber attacks are concerned. We've also been talking about ransomware. Now, we've heard about the ransomware attacks that have happened. The WannaCry, for example, I've put few examples of cyber attacks that have kind of impacted businesses. One of the key aspects that I want to talk about when we talk about cybersecurity, if you ask me a question, were these cyber attacks not there prior to the pandemic? It was there, but the magnitude of these cyber attacks have been many folds. Earlier, when I kind of started my career, we used to do something called as the IT controls related areas, right? So as part of internal audit, we used to have specialists who would come and do IT general controls, right? After some point of time, when SAP was, when companies started using SAP, for testing controls in SAP, we will have a specialist as part of the internal audit team. Then came data analytics. Again, there was a specialist who was coming in. But now, if I look back, most of us on this call, we will have capabilities to do and a quick view in terms of IT controls. We will know how to do ERP audits. We will know how to use data analytics as part of the internal audit. So the next set of area that we are looking at is in terms of cyber, right? Cyber will become one of the important aspects that an internal auditor will be looking at going forward. Why am I saying that? One of the key aspects from a cyber and the change that's happening from a cyber standpoint is cyber is no more looked at as a technology issue. It is becoming a business issue. So let me explain. We had this the attack that happened on a gas pipeline organization in the US. We've all read about it. It was not a compromise of the financial systems that the company was handling, the large gas pipeline organization. The impact was in servicing, making sure that the gas supply to people in the US was disturbed. So the attacks that are happening today are no longer just a financial kind of an impact that is happening, but it is an impact that is happening on the business, an impact that is happening on the economy, the impact that happens on the society in which all of us are part of. Imagine all of us. I mean, I have a teenage daughter, right? And she's most of the time on the computer because all the online classes are happening. If there were somebody who's tracking her, or if she just makes a small mistake of clicking a wrong link, the entire security as far as my teenage daughter could be compromised. So the way cyber is looked at today is no more that it will have a financial impact. Earlier, whenever there is a cyber incident, what we used to do is we used to go and say, okay, what is the set of cyber incident that happened? Did this cause a financial impact for me? If it caused a financial impact, maybe as part of our audits, we would go deep in to find out what happened. But now, the way the boards are looking at cyber, and based on various discussions I've had, boards are not looking at cyber as just a financial impact related, but it is a business impact. The second important thing is earlier, cyber was more talked about as a IT related. It was always a discussion. Whenever you talk about cyber, we will go and talk to the CIO or the CISO of the company. But now the cyber related aspects that we will need to be talking about is with the operations. Say, for example, in a manufacturing client, how many times as part of our internal audit do we go discuss cyber related risk with the business managers? The actual risk for a company not only resides as part of their entire IT framework, but actually the risk lies in the operations that are happening. If a plant security is compromised, there will be far more consequences that we see than just a financial application being impacted. Therefore, the boards are now looking at cyber as more as a business issue rather than just a technology related issue. That is number one. The second important change that happens from a cyber is the human element as far as cyber is concerned. You can go through, if you go into detail of any of these attacks that is there, it would have been a person's password that is being compromised, or there is a people element in it. There is a lot of discussions today that happen in terms of insider risk that comes in from a cyber standpoint. right? There are risks which are coming up due to mergers and acquisition, right? This is an IPO season that we are, the flavor in the market is IPO. There's a lot of risk that comes in before a company gets onto an IPO. We have heard, and this is something that I had written in one of my articles as well, saying one of a company which was into the taxi related services was not able to get into the IPO because of the compromise that happened from a data privacy standpoint. In all the examples that I'm telling you, there are only two things that I leave as a takeaway, is that cyber is now becoming a business issue, and there is a human element as part of what we see from a cyber standpoint. Now, moving on to the next slide, in terms of why the role of internal auditor is important, right? One, we spoke about the threat landscape that is being changing, right? So that is the first important. The second one, in terms of the digitalization that happens, be it the cloud, adoption of cloud in our clients, right? Many a times when I go along with my internal audit team for a discussion, they are either in a cloud environment or they are in the process of moving to a cloud. The key aspect that they ask the internal auditor is to see, can you do a cloud assessment for me? Because the risk is no longer just on the traditional areas that we do as part of our internal audit, but on the emerging technologies and emerging areas that we are looking at. The third important element that comes in is the supply chain and outsourcing, right? We have a lot of cyber related risks that comes from third parties, right? So the compromise, especially when you look at banks, and I was talking to an independent director of a bank, and he was mentioning that, see, my core banking applications are very, very secure, right? I don't have a problem as far as my core banking softwares are concerned. But my worry as an independent director is that the number of other smaller applications that talk to my core banking systems, which are managed by my outsourced service providers. There are a lot of fintechs that are there today who are operating these particular applications, and there is a connectivity between that fintech organization and me, and that's where I see the risk. So outsourcing risk and contracting and third-party contractors are getting more, and that poses an important risk as far as the business is concerned. The next aspect is in terms of data. As far as data is concerned, now we live in a data world, right? In a digital world. So we will need to make sure that the traditional ways of us managing data may no longer be the right thing to do. Let's take, for example, a lot of us are in Bangalore. In earlier, physical security in ODC and physical security was one of the important ways to protect CII. Now that is just out of the window, right? There is no more ODCs. All of us, our ODCs are actually our houses. Earlier, when we go into a technology, or there will be an ODC, you can't even take a pen paper inside that particular ODC. But now the way the data is managed and the access to the data is far different from what was there earlier. And then the regulatory landscape is also changing. The most awaited PDPB, and hopefully it will see light in the day in the coming years, and GDPR, right? So there are a lot more of regulatory requirements that is coming up, and that is an important aspect from a cyber standpoint that we will need to look at. And as I had mentioned, it is not about just financial loss that we are looking at. The impact is much more. The impact is on IP protection, financial operation, customer retention, and impact on individual and community. I will just take you onto this aspect in terms of impact on individual and community. This is we have been talking in Deloitte, from the company where organizations where I come from. One of the aspects that we are talking about is cyber social responsibility. When you have a cyber security breach, it impacts. There are psychological impacts. There is widespread disruption that happens. Financial and economic impact happens, and other operational impact. So it is just not about a theft of or loss of financial information, but there is a whole lot of other impact as far as cyber is concerned. that's something that I just wanted to draw your attention. So these are the various landscape how cyber environment is changing, and therefore we see a lot more of an important role an internal auditor is playing today. When I move on to the next slide, so this is what is changing as far as the environment is concerned. Now, as far as board's oversight, right? So at some point of time, the internal audit reports back to the audit committee, and thereafter to the board also, right? As far as board's responsibilities are concerned, board's responsibilities as far as cyber is looked at, that is also on an increase, right? As far there are regulations from an SEC standpoint, SOX standpoint, RBI comes up with various regulation and mandates, which makes it very important for the senior leadership and board of directors to know about cyber security concepts. So if you have to be, most of you would be knowing this, that if you have to become an independent director of a board, you got to go through the certifications. There is a course that RBI mandates you to do on cyber security. There is they have a course that is usually, it used to be a classroom kind of a session which used to get handled in Hyderabad. Now possibly it is on an online mode, right? And there are a lot of RBI relating mandates when it comes to cyber security. Again, SEBI also has certain requirements as far as the cyber risks is concerned. And one of the Gartner study that I was looking at, it also says that over a period of time, less than 10% of the boards have a dedicated cyber security committee. I want to draw this attention to you to say that this is not the IT committee that we have all heard of. This is about having a dedicated cyber security committee which focuses on cyber related and business. Whenever a new business is obtained or a new project is launched, they evaluate that from a cyber lens, right? So if there is a mergers and acquisition that is that's happening today, it's very important for me to look at the cyber related risk that could be as part before I acquire that that organization, right? So there is a specific focus as far as the cyber security is concerned, and almost less than 10% at this point of time have a cyber security committee. This could be this was a global Gartner survey, so maybe very less could be in India. But at this point of time, I've always heard that the IT committee takes care of the cyber security aspects, but it is little different. It's moving away. It's not just IT. It is broader than that, right? Why is that? Why is that boards are trying to have a specific cyber security committee? Right? It is because of areas that we already spoke about in terms of data privacy, client confidentiality, resilience is very important, geopolitical changes, and the work from home related aspects that we are looking at. And all of us have heard many of the CEOs of companies saying that they will be on a hybrid model, or they will let their employees choose in terms of whether they want to really come into the office or otherwise, right? So the work from home related aspects that we are facing today and the threats that we see, I'm sure there are a lot of advantages, but the threats as far as cyber is concerned are here to stay, and therefore boards are making it specific to see whether they should have a cyber security committee, right? You would also know that some of the RBI guidelines today are very stringent, right? If you are in a non-compliance of a particular RBI related compliance, you may be stopped from doing business in our country, right? We've heard that many number of times. Therefore, when all these regulations are mandating boards oversight, it automatically makes it very important for the internal auditors to also start looking from a cyber standpoint. Okay, so what would be the typical roles and responsibilities of internal auditors as far as the cyber security is concerned? As far as other areas, I think you are all, you would all be very competent to in terms of the roles. As far as internal auditors are concerned from a cyber standpoint, these are few things that I thought I will share with you. There are 3 points to it. One, assessment. Then you would have the board reporting that will happen, and and also in terms of the internal audit plan and how the assessments will have an impact in terms of the planning for the next year, right? So one of the important aspects that that can be considered from roles and responsibility from an internal auditor side is one is to see whether you could make a performing a comprehensive cyber risk assessment, right? So today we do a risk assessment for a specific area. Let's take if you're doing a payroll audit, you might be doing a risk assessment around that. But from a cyber standpoint, we will need to do a comprehensive assessment from a cyber risk standpoint. In each of the processes that you're looking at, you would need to look at cyber as well. If a company is acquiring a new business, you will need to see what could be the potential cyber risk from that standpoint, right? So making a comprehensive risk assessment will be the starting point, right? Understand the key risk aspect as far as the cyber is concerned. And we will also need to look at the various cyber assessment frameworks that exist today. It could be an NIST, it could be various other standards that are there. That's something that we will need to be aware from an internal audit standpoint. The second important thing is must have a subject matter expertise to ask the right questions, right? To determine what could be the potential risk from a cyber security. And this is where I'm mentioning earlier, for everything we would have an expert coming in. Even now, till how internal auditors have mastered data analytics or doing an SAP audit. Till we get there, maybe you will need to have a cyber expert asking the right kind of questions, not only to the IT or CISO. It is also important for us to talk to the business heads to understand what could be the typical risk from a cyber standpoint. Right? And I can give you an example to you today. This is one of the companies, electric scooter manufacturing organization. Before even they went live in the plant, they wanted to make sure that cyber security experts come into the plant to understand what could be the potential risk when the plant is being developed, right? So it is not that you just do only compliance related work anymore. It is about embedding cyber security in every aspect of the business that we are talking about. Therefore, it's important for internal auditors to not only talk to the IT or the CISO, but also to the business heads to understand what could be the typical cyber related risk that we are talking about, right? And the next important thing is to understand the minimum expected cybersecurity practices across the industry or business sector. If you're going for an internal audit in a bank, the amount of cybersecurity related aspects might be very different from what you do in a technology company vis-a-vis what you do in a manufacturing company. So what is the minimum standard that you would expect will depend on the business or the sector that you belong. So as an internal auditor, we will need to be aware of that. The next important aspect is to do a broad evaluation and should drive additional risk-based cyber security deep dive reviews, right? So how you do deep dive reviews, if you find a particular area, let's take a third-party risk as a area, if you find out, you got to go deep into it. The next important, once you finish your assessment, you do your risk assessment, then if there are any any findings that you have, you present the findings to the audit committee, and thereafter the relevant information will move to the board as it happens in all other reviews that we do. The next important aspect is in terms of the internal audit plan. Based on the findings, you will need to see whether what kind of additional plans that you will need to have from a cyber security standpoint for the next year or for the next quarter is something that you will need to determine. And one of the aspects that we've again been seeing, like, when we talk to multiple companies, they want to do a maturity assessment at this point of time. These are organizations who have very matured practices, but they want to re-evaluate, and boards are asking them to re-evaluate considering the additional risk that we have been seeing. Even if you take something like a ransomware, it is just not a CIO to respond to a ransomware attack. Let's take, for example, Just as an example, I'm just hoping it never happens to any of us. Let's take, we are held ransom, right? It's not a CIO's decision to see whether they can make a payment for that ransom or they should not be making a payment. There'll be, you have to get your, the risk team needs to get involved, your CFO needs to get involved, your privacy officer needs to be getting involved, right? So there are so many people you will need to get involved, and you will need to have a structured process before you kind of respond to a ransomware attack. And as part of internal audit, we got to see whether they have that practices, right? So that is one of the important component, right? So we are not going to be investigating that, but what mechanism that organizations have today to kind of be able to handle a ransomware attack, if at all. I mean, if it happens, how do they kind of are they able to handle that? The next area could be in terms of insider threat, right? From a cyber standpoint, is there somebody working on a research related areas, trying to take away these, let's take it's a disgruntled employee, is he trying to take away certain IP, right? What are the mechanisms that companies have to making sure that such things don't happen, right? So those are few things that that we will need to look at from an internal audit standpoint. I pause here to see if there are any questions in the chat box.
Yeah, Mehnaz, is there any question?
Yes, sir.
So you can just, right now, you can just tell to Deepa.
Surely. So there is a question, is there any tool available in SAP for testing controls and to identify control lapses? Please advise in case if there are any.
So I can provide the details of, there are certain tools that are available. SAP earlier also used to have an audit procedure. It used to be called the AIS. It was an audit information system that you can run and look at it. There are customized tools that are available for you to do it, do those assessments.
Okay.
There used to be there's something called SecCheck. They're pretty expensive ones, but there are customized programs that are available. And, for example, in my organization, we do have a toolkit. We just have to run that, and it will give us all the, it will test all the controls automatically and give us the results. So those are ABAP programs that have been developed, and such things are available in the market.
Yeah. And then, the INSABI tool is also available.
Yes.
So we used to test all our controls through that tool only.
Yeah. Okay. So any other questions?
Okay, you carry on. If there is any question, we'll come.
Okay, sure. Okay. So now we spoke about the changing landscape as far as cybersecurity is concerned and how it is transforming it to a business issue. We looked at board's requirement from a regulatory standpoint that is coming in, and then we saw what could be the typical role as far as internal auditors are concerned. Moving on, I also wanted to touch a little bit in terms of the various domains that are there as far as cybersecurity is concerned. I'm not getting into very great details in terms of each of the domain because it's very, very vast. But we've highlighted few things for you to consider. Maybe in your own internal audits, maybe these are certain areas that you could possibly consider. When we look at cybersecurity, I would think it has about four broad buckets. Okay, one is strategy, which has not been explicitly mentioned here. One is cyber strategy. The second one is to put preventive controls preventive controls in place, which is basically making sure that you secure your systems. It could be putting up a DLP software. It could be an identity and access management software that you deploy, right? So you put certain tools to make sure that your environment is secure. The third important aspect is in terms of vigilant. It's like secure is to have a good lock to your house, right? Vigilant is to make sure that monitor who's opening the door and who's closing, who's locking and unlocking your house. So as far as vigilant is concerned, it's about early warning systems that you have. right? Where let's take today, I'm trying to go on to if I'm trying to get into trying to download a lot of information from the Deloitte repository that is there, there will be an alert that will be sent saying Deepa is trying to get a lot more information than what she usually does, right? So those are the early warning systems or the vigilant related systems. The other one is in terms of resilient, and this is where it is becoming even more very, very important, right? It's about being able to bounce back as far as an incident happens. How quickly can I bounce back, right? And now what we have also seen is that being resilient also depends in terms of what kind of secure and vigilant. It's all interrelated, right? If you have a very good secure and vigilant systems in place, your incident management will be much more faster, because the more data you have, you will be able to find the root cause. And that's one. I mean, I would like to just mention here, personally, I used to like auditing SAP, right? The reason behind is there are so many logs that will be available, and when we go into each log, then you will be able to know why the control lapses. So the more data you have, the more analysis that you can do, and you will be able to do lot more of it will become a lot more better in terms of the way we are analyzing and doing things, right? So this is the 4 areas that I would look at from a cyber security assessment standpoint. And we will need, as part of your internal audit program, based on the industry that is there and the mandate that is there, you can pick up areas. You can drop your overall plan in terms of what are the areas that you would like to pick up as part of your internal audit program. Some of the areas that is gaining lot more importance today is the data management and protection. That is one of the areas we got to look at, considering how the data gets stored today. There is organizations are moving to cloud. There are a lot of data that could be available in various places. So it's important for us to do a data discovery and a data management and protection related work as part of our internal audit programs, right? Identity access, digital identity is another important topic that I see today, is to making sure that people get authenticated and authorized, and they get access to the right system. So identity and access management is again an important area that we need to look at from an cyber security standpoint, including as part of the internal audit, right? So privileged access management, again, right? If many of us on this would have raised issues to say that the group administrator IDs are shared. So we'll need to see what kind of privileged access management software that organizations have, and we will need to look at security from that aspect. The other thing is some of the areas which I've also highlighted physical security to say that this is not something that the way the physical security is handled today is very, very different. So I just wanted to highlight that view, right? So these are some of the domains, penetration testing, and I always see a lot of internal audit, maybe in the Q2 or Q3, many of the internal auditors try and do the application security testing, penetration testing, and vulnerability management, right? So that is something that I've commonly seen organizations do and internal auditors do as part of their program, right? The other areas in terms of crisis and resilience, very, very important. Incident management, having specific procedures around ransomware attacks, insider threat management. Those would be typical areas that come in today, and it's becoming a lot more relevant and important, right? Security Operations Center controls around that, because the entire organization is kind of working from the SOC. So therefore, the controls around the SOC is also something which is very, very important and relevant today. Right. Here, I've just given you a brief, it's a lot of slides here, but what we do is, as part of the cyber risk assessment, you could do a maturity assessment, even as part of the internal audit, where first time you do, the client might be in an initial phase. as part of the overall internal audit program, you got to make sure that clients are able to move from an initial stage to an optimized kind of a stage. And one of the key things that we look from internal board's expectation from internal auditors is not only give the gap assessment, but also tell the good practices, right? Whenever I've gone into an audit committee, whether I was an internal auditor or in any other role that I went to meet an audit committee, the first thing that they ask me is in terms of what is the best practice in this particular area. Where do you see my organization need to look at in the next 1 or 2 years? So these kind of maturity analysis and risk assessment and plotting of the risk that we see will go a long way, in terms of the value that internal audit gives to the management and thereafter to the audit committee and to the shareholders. So this is something that we could possibly do as part of the internal audit programs with respect to cyber risk assessment. So what are the key points? I just wanted to quickly summarize in terms of what are the key points that I will need to consider from an internal audit standpoint. The first one, the onus is on the internal auditors to help the board understand the current state of security within the organization and what is the desirable state. So as a third line of defense, you internal auditors need to give this particular independent opinion, or not opinion, independent view to the board as far as the cyber security is concerned. So that is the first one. The second important aspect is to do an initial assessment, and you do an initial assessment across all the 14-15 domains as far as cyber security is concerned, across the 4 areas that I mentioned in terms of strategy, secure, vigilant, and respond. Once you do that overall assessment, each quarter you could possibly pick up one particular area, and then you can get into a deep dive as part of your program. Then the third important thing is, it's going to be a roadmap, as I mentioned. You can't do all the cyber related areas as part of an internal audit in one particular year, because the internal auditor, cyber is not the only area that they will need to look at, right? You have a lot more of roles and responsibility. So you pick up one area, and then you do the normal internal audit cycle. You gotta just do the pick up the particular area and do it quarter on quarter, right? Then the most important thing, once you get them to an optimized kind of a state, you reevaluate with the board in terms of what is the new areas that you will need to look at. So that's the other thing. One of the key aspects, other important aspects that I want to mention to all of you is in terms of upskilling, right? We all, as part of our internal audit function, the way we have embraced ERP audits, the way we have embraced IT general controls related audits, we have to make sure that we have the knowledge to do cyber security reviews also. I'm not for a minute saying it has to be a deep dive. You will need to know all technologies, how the SOC manages, all that. That's not what I'm mentioning. But to ask the right questions from a cyber security standpoint, each of us have an opportunity to upskill ourselves, and that is something that we should possibly be doing, right? The other two aspects that have been mentioned here is to make sure that the audit plan is kept flexible, so that you can you're able to adapt to the new changes that are happening, right? And also the most important, two other important aspects for you to consider is one, please look at security from not just your internal IT applications, but the broader applications that would have an impact as far as your business is concerned. That's an important aspect that you would need to be looking at. The last slide that I have to present today is in terms of addressing board's expectation. This is the 5-pointer I would like to mention to make it very easy and simple. One is to, when you look at board's expectation from an internal auditor, they want you to take a holistic approach for tackling cyber related matters, it is this is something that I've been repeating myself, saying look at it more as a business issue. So that's the first one. Second, what are the crown jewels that must be protected, right? In the current scenario, how many of the companies have gone back and done a cyber maturity assessment in the current environment that they are operating, right? So you will need to make sure that whether the right crown jewels or the right assets are being protected, and what are the changes that have happened. There is a transformation in the way we do business today, so we will need to make sure that those changes have been taken care of, right? So let's take, for example, earlier in an organization, an e-commerce portal we may not have gone and done a lot of work around the e-commerce portal at some point of time, because the business model could have been that people visit stores to make certain purchases. But now the whole scenario has changed, that most of the business is done through a digital platform. So has the organization gone and updated their risk assessments to ensure that the new type ways of working has been handled, right? The third important aspect is there a well-defined cyber risk ownership? Who's going to be handling all the cyber related risk? And if you find that everything has gone to the CIO or CISO, that's again a question that we will need to really ask, right? The fourth important, there is actually there is absolute war as far as cyber talent is concerned, right? I mean, it is not only cyber talent, but overall talent itself is becoming quite a bit of a challenge. But as far as cyber security talent, there's almost a war there, right? So we will need to go and check what is the process for identifying, hiring diverse cyber security talent, and how do they make sure that the upskilling and things like that, training and things like that are taken care of. So that will be the fourth important aspect that the board's expectation is. And the fifth one has management factored in risk with third parties. And this is something that I spoke about in terms of the fourth party and the third party risk, and as part of the outsourcing that is happening today. And is there a strategy behind this, right? So these are some of the key areas that we need to take care from an internal audit standpoint, to making sure that we are able to address both expectations. So that's what I wanted to cover, and I'm open to questions now.
Sure, ma'am. So we have a few questions. I'll read out for you. One moment.
Yeah. Deepa, I take the opportunity for asking the first question. Okay.
Yes.
See, actually, this forum, we have our many young internal auditors are attending this session. Okay. How if you guide them, how they can upskill them in their cyber security, the cyber related skill set. You tell upskilling. So what are the options available?
Okay, so if you go, there are certain certifications like CISSP that is available that you could possibly take. There are certifications which is specific to CPA. With respect to privacy, right? You can do courses around that. DSCI offers some of the courses in terms of cyber security. There is NASSCOM has something called a future skills platform, right? So this is a platform where you could go and you can decide what kind of trainings that you want to attend from a cyber security standpoint. So these are some of the avenues that are there for you to go and look at what could be the minimum. You can decide in terms of how much you want to learn from a cyber security. It is important for you to understand all the concepts, right? Be it product security, be it IoT security. You got to understand what that is, and these are some of the platforms that I mentioned are available today for us to do our upskilling, Mr. Kundu.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Meena, please ask the question. Sorry, I just crossed the line.
Sure, sir. Okay. So the question we have from Rahul Rampure is, does insurance cover cyber risk?
Yes, there is a specific insurance called cyber insurance. Many of the current insurance providers give this particular insurance as well. So there is cyber insurance which are specifically available for organizations and for individuals for us to take.
Sure. The next question is, what is the risk quotient if the digital application like websites, social media, and mobile apps is installed within the company cloud or server?
So it depends, right? The level of security may be very different depending on where you got to see what is the environment where where your infrastructure is stored, right? But you can't say that if it's like this, right? If I say that I've locked my house, nobody will steal anything from my house. That might be a wrong thing for us to do. Somebody can break lock and come into your house, right? So it is not about where, it is a question of where the data is stored and how the data you are protecting, right? Even if it is within your network, you cannot be rest assured that you will not get your data will not get compromised. Or when your data is in cloud, we cannot say that you will always get compromised. It depends that you put the three layers that I spoke about. You have the right secure systems, you have the right strategy, you have the right secure, right vigilant, and resilient. So all four have to be put together in the environment that where our data is getting stored. I'm not sure if I answered the question, but we cannot always say that if everything resides within my environment that I'm safe. We can't do that, but it has to be a combination of the four things that I mentioned for us to do that particular level of assessment and taking comfort around that.
Right, ma'am. So the next question is, what is the major risk of business data when they are a part of e-commerce like Amazon or Flipkart?
Okay, so we will need to be very careful in terms of the data that we share. The first one is to making sure that they have the right digital certificate. So you've got to verify that particular certificate. The second important is in those you will need to take consumer beware, right? So you will need to be very cautious in terms of what kind of information that you give them, and you got to be frequently monitoring in terms of the information that you share with them. While all these payment gateways and the e-commerce platforms, we'll need to see whether they have the adequate certifications. Are they do you see any news in terms of any RBI fines that the companies are doing? You got to look around for that. But we can't say that I will not work on e-commerce platform. That's not how businesses can run today, or even as individuals. We got to take adequate precautions from our side, do some of the verifications that I just mentioned about, and be careful when you're trading, right? When you're working on those platforms. You will also need to make sure a lot of things from your house network, right? Whether let's take you have a router, you will need to make sure those passwords are well protected so that nobody hacks into your house network and steals information. So you got to make sure that the cyber security that is there in our organization is at home also, right? Cyber and privacy actually starts from home. So you will need to put those precautions, make those checks before you start using any of the e-commerce platforms.
Right, ma'am. So the next question is, which sector is most affected by the cyber attacks?
Across all the sectors, as I said, almost all the sectors have been impacted. As far as India is concerned, the life sciences companies have been impacted with a lot of ransomware attacks. I think it is overall, I don't have the right percentages to mention here, but across all industries, all sectors, there has been an impact. And I've heard a lot more of life sciences, ransomware attacks on life sciences and consumer and retail clients happening in the recent past. But I think it's overall, and I really don't have the percentages.
Correct, ma'am. So the next question is, what are the top 3 emerging risks you see being discussed at the board meetings or the ACMs?
Okay. One, I did speak about it, right? Data risk is one of the key areas that is being talked about. Second one is in terms of incident management. How do you do from an if there is an incident, what process do you have to recover from the incident? That's the next topic. The third one is in terms of business cyber impacts on the business. So that's the third one. It's no more about just that's the third thing that I see where boards are asking more questions in terms of cyber impact, more from a business standpoint and just not from a financial standpoint, financial application standpoint.
Right, ma'am. So the next question is, if a large supermarket wants to expand operations in multiple geographies, what the organization should take care from cyber security point of view?
Okay, so the first one is in terms of how if there are different geographies that the company wants to set up. First of all, you will need to know what are the cyber and privacy related requirements that will be there, right? Especially on the privacy standpoint. Let's take if you're going to be having operations in the European Union, you got to be compliant to the GDPR regulation. If you're going to be, you're going to be an healthcare provider in the US, then you got to make sure that you know what the rules of the land is, right? So the first thing is from a cyber security, you will need to know what are the cyber related expectations in that particular country. So that is the first mapping that you will need to do. The second mapping will be in terms of where the data is going to be stored, right? Is so that's the second consideration that you would be looking at, and the third one and all the other controls will look at, right? Access control and the four buckets that I mentioned, all that will be coming in. But the most important from a cyber security is to understand where you're going to be and what kind of cyber regulations that company needs to be is mandatory for the organization to be compliant to, is something that we will definitely need to understand.
Right, ma'am. So the next question is, what is the highest reported cybercrime in India as on 2019?
2000.
19.
Okay, I can share the data with you. I don't remember I remember it. It is there in my machine, but I can just send that across. But all I know, I mean, I can definitely tell you that it has multiplied multifold. If you go and you do a web search in terms of certain incident from a certain standpoint, you just do a Google, you will get that information.
Okay, would you like to recommend any SAP tools for cybersecurity audit?
As far as SAP is concerned, from a cyber security, I think the previous answer that I had given you will hold good. There's nothing specific from a cyber security, especially there is a tool from a privacy standpoint, right? So today we are viewing a lot of information from our houses. So I think SAP from a privacy standpoint has come up with a patch. So we need to make sure that that particular patch has been installed. So that's what I would recommend.
Right, ma'am. So I don't see any more questions coming up. Amal sir, do
Okay.
you have questions?
Yeah. No, I have only one question right now. See, it is not an organization point of view, it is from the individual point of view. Every time you wanted to do any transaction or everybody is telling you that you just download this app. So without app, you cannot do any transaction or you cannot do anything. So everybody, even if you book a travel ticket, etc. So how, as an individual, will understand this app, whatever I am downloading, it is secured
Okay.
and it will not
So
my.
okay.
Okay, but it is a little fine. Please tell me. So this is little bit worried. See, all of us are worried, na? Because our bank data is there in the computer, everything. If you are doing something, so what? How we ensure that okay, we are not fallen on a trap of any fraudulent transaction.
Okay. So one of the key things that you will need to see is whether you really want to have so many apps in your machine, right? So first, before you got to also see whether you need to have so many apps. That would be the first thing that I would mention. The second is you will need to see whether that the app that the organization is giving, you got to see whether they have the relevant cybersecurity related certifications. I think you got to call for that and see whether that is there before you start doing the transaction. And also third is like, never store anything in that particular, store any personal information in those apps. But as you all know that once the app is installed, then they have a complete track in terms of what you're doing. So you got to be very careful in terms of the app that you choose. You have to ask whether they have the relevant cyber certifications.
Correct. Okay, so do you have any other question, Mena? We are just at 6. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So
There is a question, are there any checkpoints for APIs?
There is, I mean, that's an overall, that could be a next session that we could possibly look at in terms of security over the APIs.
okay.
Sure, ma'am. So rest, I don't see any more questions.
So Mena, right now, shall we take out the question and then I will give you the vote of thanks? So what shall we do?
I'll quickly run a poll for IA India's feedback, sir, and then you can give the vote of thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just Deepa, 2 minutes, okay?
No problem, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. I've collected the responses.
Okay. Deepa.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please come. See, Deepa, once again, it was so an excellent session, really. I'm telling you, it is always a pleasure to listen from you. Every time you come and then you give many ideas. Today also you get many ideas. Even I am having a lot of audit experience. Today also I learned a lot of things. Earlier also I learned a lot of things from you. Today also I learned a lot of new things from you. And we like to thank you on my personal behalf, on behalf of our Board of Governors of Bangalore chapter, on behalf of President and Vice President of our Bangalore chapter and the entire committee of our Bangalore chapter to honor our request and to come and to share your valuable experience with our participants. And then soon we are going back to our old in-person mode. So here also we wanted to have you in one session so that we have many questions even in our mind. Because of time constraint, people are not asking these questions. So overall, it is an excellent session, and I have no word to express my thanks to you, Deepa. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I hope the session was useful. It was very good interactive session for me from a Q&A standpoint. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Deepa. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Mehnaz, kindly share the feedback, okay?
Surely, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mehnaz.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks to all participants for their patient hearing. Thank you.